I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on algebra. Now we'll talk about algebraic expressions, equations, and we'll have some examples with modeling. We are going to look into these topics. Translate phrases into algebraic expressions, translate sentences into equations, translate sentences into formulae, translate equations into sentences, write a problem based on information, 4-step problem solving plan, and we'll have some practice test with solutions, right? Let's understand few definitions. A mathematical statement that contains algebraic expressions and symbols is called an open sentence. So whether it is an expression or an equation, it will be referred to as an open sentence. Expressions are open sentences that will not contain equal to sign. So equal to sign will be only in equations, right? But not in expressions. So not contains equal to signs is for expressions. Equations, on the other hand, will have equal to signs. Solving open sentence is to find the value of the variable that make the sentence true. Replacement set or the domain is a set of numbers from which values of variables can be chosen. A set is a collection of objects. The numbers in it are called elements. Solution set is the set of elements from the replacement set that makes the sentence true. So these are some words which we are going to use in our language while working with expressions, equations, and modeling. Now let's take up the actual translation of phrases into algebraic expressions. So mathematical language is just like English, where the phrases will be translated into expressions and sentences, the complete sentences, into equations, right? So here are a few examples. We'll actually do these examples and then understand it better. For example, there's a phrase, double a number. That means, let me define, when we talk about algebra, we always work with some numbers or expressions or variables. So let's define, so let the number be So in general, we'll use n for number, right? As and when required, we can always define our variables. When we say double a number, then we will use n as our number. So the expression will be 2 times n. Do you understand? So 2 times n means double the number. Does make sense to you? So we are just twice the number. 7 decreased by a number. So we are decreasing 7 by a number means 7 minus n. So 7 is decreased by some number. On this side, we have number increased by 5. That means n comes first. Number is the subject here, right? Number is increased by 5. And then we have number decreased by 3. That means n minus 3. So n minus 3 means number decreased by 3. Many times students will write 3 minus n. That will be incorrect. Okay. Quadruple a number decreased by 1. So quadruple means 4 times. So 4 times a number decreased by 1. So it will be 4 times a number. Decrease means minus 1. So you see how easy it is to express a phrase in terms of an expression. As you see, we do not have any equal to sign here. So these are open sentences and they're called expressions. Clear? So you can actually pause the video now and write down expressions for rest of the phrases. And let me continue. 5 less than 1/3 of a number. So 5 is less than 1/3. 1/3 is the subject. So 1/3 of n minus 5. So whenever it comes to less than, so this than tells you that 5 comes later. Reciprocal of a number added to itself. So reciprocal is 1 over n, right? So reciprocal of a number is added to itself, right? Like this. Product of consecutive odd numbers. So consecutive numbers are numbers which come together. Odd numbers like we have like 3, 5, 7. These are consecutive odd numbers. So if one number is n, then the other will be what? The other will be n plus 2. It's kind of a skip counting, right? So n times n plus 2 gives me product of consecutive odd numbers, right? Then we have quotient of 20 and number plus 6. So quotient of 20 and number means, quotient means that number comes in the numerator, 20 over n plus 6. Quotient means division. Division of 20 and number means by the number plus 6. Half a number less 4. So half of a number less 4. Is that clear to you? So that is how we actually write phrases into algebraic expressions, right? I'd like you to pause this particular portion, look at them once again, and then move forward to converting sentences to algebraic equations. Let us translate sentences into equations. So these are the sentences here. Equations will always have equal to sign. 7 more than a number is 11. So is means equal to sign, right? So our number is n. So let me define, let the number be n. It's very important to define your variables. 7 more than a number is 11. That means 7 more than a number, so number comes first, plus 7 equals to 11. So is will always translate to equal to sign. The sum of 6 and 3 times p equals the difference of 4 times k and 3. Okay, so sum of 6 and 3 times p. So sum of 6 and 3 times p is equals, so equals or is one and the same thing, equals the difference of 4 times k and 3. 4 times k and 3 difference, right? So that is how we'll come. So the order is important, right? There is no than here, right? So the order is difference of 4 times k and 3. Do you understand? That is how it will be. Then 3/4 of x plus 12 is 1/2 of x increased by 9. So 3/4 of x means 3 out of 4. 3/4 of x plus means plus 12. 12 is means equal to 1/2 means half of x increased by 9 plus 9. So that is how literally we are going to translate a sentence into mathematical open statement called equation, where is and equal to means equal to sign. Now, I hope you have understood this. So this is a good stage. You can stop now and write down the equations for the next 4 parts. Okay, so let's see. 25 times m is n squared decreased by 9. So 25 times m means 25 times m. So when we don't write any symbol in between, it means product, multiplication. 25 times m is means equal to n squared decreased by 9 minus 9. You see, decreased by 9. So n squared is decreased by 9. 2 more than triple the number h is 14. So 2 more than triple the number. So 3 times h plus 2 is 14. Do you see how I switched the position? 2 more than, because there was than in the sentence. G. Product of consecutive numbers is 56. Now this time it is consecutive numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. Numbers which come one after the other. So if one number is n, the other will be n plus 1. You could write n minus 1 also is 56. Clear? Sum of consecutive odd numbers is 5 more than twice the smaller number. Well, sum of consecutive odd numbers is, so that means n plus 2. So when it is odd numbers, we are skipping the even number in between, right? So that's why we wrote n plus 2 is 5 more than, so 5 will come later, 5 more than twice the smaller number. So smaller number is n for me plus 5. Does make sense to you? That is how we are going to write our equation for the given sentences. Perfect. Now we are going to translate sentences into formulae. A. Perimeter P of a regular hexagon is 6 times the length L of each side. So perimeter P of a regular hexagon is 6 times the length L of each side. Got it? B. 4 times pi times the radius squared is the surface area of a sphere. So 4 times pi times radius squared is means equal to the surface area of sphere, right? Surface area of sphere. So that's the formula for surface area of sphere, 4 pi r square. C. Product of half the length of base and height is area of triangle. So product of half the length of the base, let this variable be b and height be h. Then we write b and h is area of triangle. Perfect. Volume of a cylinder is product of pi with square of radius and height. So let us say radius is r, height is h, and volume is v. So we say volume of a cylinder is product of pi r square h. Perfect. That is how we are going to write the formula. Sum of interior angles of a convex polygon is 180 degrees times. So sum of interior angles, let's say we are calling this variable as n, right? So sum of interior angles, or we say capital S. Okay. So we say capital S is 180 times difference of number of sides n and 2. So it is 180 times n minus 2. Clear? And that is in degrees. Celsius temperature C is 5/9 times the difference of Fahrenheit temperature F and 32. So Celsius C is 5/9 means 5/9 times the difference of Fahrenheit temperature F and 32. So that comes in bracket F minus 32. Does make sense? So 5/9 times the what? The difference of Fahrenheit temperature F and 32. So 5/9 is going to multiply both of them. So that is how we could write the formula from the given sentence. Now in this particular case, the exercise is to translate equations into sentences. So we are given the equations, we need to write description for these in the form of a sentence. 5a minus 3 equals to 12. How will you write it? Right? So you could say 3 taken away from 5a, 5 times the number, is 12. Right? Or you could say 5 times a number take away 3 is 12. You could write like this also, right? The next one here is 3p plus q square equals to r minus 1. So here we can write 3 times p, 3 times a number. So when we are given an equation, we have liberty here to use just the word number. So in the equation, you could write this as p, right? 3 times the number p, you could write like this, plus square of number q is 1 less than r. Right? So that gives you this second equation. Now, see, how do we write this one? A plus b whole square is a square plus 2ab plus b square. So we can write square of sum of two numbers. Right? So we can say square of sum of two numbers is, so that is equal to sign, square of first plus twice product of both plus square of second number. Clear? So we could use plus for plus sign. Now here we have percentage efficiency as ratio of E output over input times 100. So we'll say percentage efficiency is 100 times the quotient of output and input energy. Clear? So that is how you could describe this particular formula. The last one here is D equals to M over V, right? So you can say density D is ratio of mass M to volume V. Clear? So that is how you could describe. Now it is not necessary that you write the word density, mass or volume in this case, right? You can say D is ratio of M and V. That is also correct. Perfect. Now let us try to understand that once we have our equations in place, then how we can actually write a problem from there, right? So that is reverse kind of a situation, very important. So now we are going to write a problem based on the information. So we are given here some information and we need to write this in the form of a problem. The information given to us is P is number of persons, C is 500 plus 10P. So what kind of problem can we create from the given information? That is the idea, right? So these are very interesting questions. Let us see how to write this. So we can say the cost of, let's say we assume that the situation is that we have a banquet party, right? So the cost per person is $10 and 500 is a fixed cost, right? So we could say cost of hosting a banquet is sum of fixed cost of $100 and $10 per person. Correct? So that is how we could get our equation. Right? The second equation here is T equals to time the water drains, and here V equals to 1000 minus 50T. So we could actually write this as assuming that initially there were 1000 liters of water and T is the time and the rate at which the water is draining is 50 liters per minute, right? So that is how we could actually create a problem. So here we could say that the volume of water left when the container with initially 1000 liters is being drained at a constant rate of, that is the rate 50, right? 50 liters per minute, let us say. Right? So that is how you could create a problem from the given equation. So I hope things are coming together. We began with first defining our variables, then writing expressions and equations, translating those open sentences into equations and expressions. And now, once we have an equation, we could actually get back to the word problems, correct? So that is a foundation for understanding a word problem. Now, let's take a word problem itself and see how to solve it. Now we'll try to understand 4-step problem solving plan. So the 4 steps are, first we need to understand the problem, then we have to plan it out, solve, and then check and answer, right? So these are the 4 steps involved in solving most of the problems. So let's take an example here. A rectangle has length that is 4 times an unknown number increased by 1 and width that is triple the same unknown number less 2. Quite complicated sentence, right? If the perimeter is 19 centimeter, then determine the length and width of the rectangle. So we understand that we are trying to figure out about dimensions of rectangle. So to understand it better, we'll actually sketch one rectangle, right? So, and then as we read, we'll form expressions to represent length and width of this rectangle. A rectangle has length that is 4 times unknown number. So let this unknown number be x, right? So we say length that is 4 times an unknown number increased by 1. So it is 4x increased by 1. Does make sense to you? So that is how we are going to find the length expression. And the width, that is triple the number less 2. So that number is triple the number less 2. That becomes the width. Clear? So that is how we are going to understand our question. Now the question is, if the perimeter is 19 centimeter, then determine the length and the width of the rectangle. Okay? So always start with the let sentence. Say let length L, let length be L and width be W, right? So we know length is 4 times a number x plus 1 and the width is 3x minus 2 as given in the question. Now what is perimeter? Perimeter is equal to twice length plus twice width. For a rectangle, the opposite sides are equal. So the perimeter is twice length plus twice width, right? So that is the information which we have to work with. And say if the perimeter is 19, we are given that perimeter is equal to 19, then determine the length and width. Then we need to find what is length and what is width. That is our question. So that is the complete understanding of our question. Now let's plan how to solve it. Well, we know that the perimeter is 19, so we can replace p with 19, right? 2 times, we know length is 4x plus 1, so we'll do 2 times 4x plus 1 plus 2 times width is 3x minus 2. Now we have an expression which needs to be solved. So we are going to simplify this by applying the distributive property. So we'll multiply by 2 both these terms. We get 8x plus 2 plus 6x minus 4 is equal to 19. Since we need to solve for x, we'll combine the x terms, like terms, and take the numbers on the other side, right? So from here, let me take it, do it on here. We'll use this space for writing the conclusion. So we can write this as 8x plus 6x is 14, right? So we'll say 19 minus 2 plus 4 is equal to 8x plus 6x, which is 14x. Add these. So 19 minus 2 is 17, and 17 plus 4 is 21. So we get 21 equals to 14x, and so x is 21 over 14. Dividing by 7, we get 3 over 2. Correct? So the value of x is 3 over 2. If x is 3 over 2, what is our length? So length will be equal to 4 times the value of x, which is 3 over 2, plus 1. So that is to say 4 times 3 is 12, divided by 2 is 6, so we get 7. As far as the width is concerned, width is 3 times 3 over 2 minus 2, right? So the width here is equal to 9 over 2 minus, so we should get the same denominators. We'll write this as 4 over 2. That is written as 9 minus 4 as 5. 5 over 2, correct? So that becomes the width of the given triangle, correct? So that is how we get length and width. We can write down that for our triangle, for the rectangle, length is 7 and width is 5 over 2 or 2.5, correct? Now the last part here is to check and then give the answer. So how do we check it? Well, we know that the perimeter is 19. So to check, we'll do 2 times the length, which is 7, plus 2 times the width, which is 5 over 2, and see what do we get. We get here 14 plus 5, which is indeed 19, which is the given perimeter, right? So it is correct. Perfect. So once we are sure about it, we write down our answer, and the answer is that length is 7 units and width is 5 by 2 units, or you can write 2.5. Perfect. So I hope the steps which you have taken to solve a problem are absolutely clear. So let us recall. We are actually solving a problem by 4-step method. First step is to understand the problem, which involves defining variables, making a sketch, and writing our equation. Then when we plan it, we plan to see how or which method to use to solve. Then we actually solve the problem. After getting the solution, it is very important to check the solution and then write down the answer. Perfect. So as you saw in our case, length is 7 units and width is, you could write 5 by 2, or you could also write this as 7 units and width as 2.5 units, or in decimals, right? So either way, it is okay. Units are centimeters for us, since the perimeter is centimeter. So better will be, we write length equals to 7 centimeters and width equals to 2.5 centimeters. Perfect. So that is the complete solution for the given question. Now let's take a small break, and after the break we'll take practice test questions. Here is the first one for you. You can pause the video, solve the question, and then look into my solutions, which I'll take after the break. I hope you enjoyed the break. It's really beautiful outside. And with the fresh mind, now let us take up practice test questions on algebraic expressions, equations, and modeling. Question number 1 here is, cost of pizza at Fantastic Pizza House is $15 plus $1.25 for each topping. Write an equation to represent the situation, right? So we can define the variable cost as C, right? And we can say for each topping, we'll write T, a variable for topping. 15 is the fixed cost. So we can write the equation as C equals to 15 plus 1.25 times T. Does it make sense? So that is how we get our cost. Now, part B is find the cost of pizza with 3 toppings. That is to say, here we are given T equals to 3. We need to find the cost. So in the equation, we'll replace T with 3. So we get C equals to 15 plus 1.25 times 3, which is 15 plus multiply by 3, that is 75 and $3, right? So when you add them up, you get $18.75. So our answer will be, we can write down here answer, that the cost will be in dollars, 18.75. So when you check and write down the answer should be written with the units. That is kind of very important. When you're doing calculations, then drop the units, right? It becomes cumbersome. So at the end, definitely write down the units. See, how many toppings can you have for $20? That is an interesting question. You can actually pause and check it out. Okay, so we have now, we have money for $20. So the cost total is $20. We need to find what T is. So I hope you understand the question now. So in this formula, we'll replace C with 20 and we have 15 plus 1.25 T. So we can take away 15 and then figure out the toppings. So we get 1.25 T, which is $5, 1.25 T. And if you divide 5 by 1/4, you should get your answer, which seems to be 4, right? Because 4 times quarter will be $1 and 4 times 1 is $4. So it gets you $5. So the answer here will be 5 toppings can be included for $20. Correct? So that is how you're going to answer it. Now let's take the second question. The second question here is, I have some nickels. Value of each nickel, as most of you know, is 5 cents, and some dimes whose value is 10 cents each. Write an expression to find the total value of n nickels and d dimes. So total value, right? So value is the amount. Let's say when we say expression to find the total value, let me call this as vector V, right? Value V. So V is equals to, we have n nickels and each nickel is 5 cents. So it'd be 0.05 nickels plus 0.10 dimes. Do you see that? That is how you get the value of money which you have. You can count how many nickels are there, multiply by 0.05 and add that to number of dimes times 0.1. Now part B, as we had in last time, calculate the amount of money with 5 nickels and 10 dimes. So the money will be, we have now 5 nickels. So we'll multiply 5 cents by 5 and the 10 cents by 10. 5 nickels and 10 dimes means n is 5 and d is 10. So that gives you 5 times 5 is 25 plus 1.00. So that gives you 1.25 as your answer. But answer should be with the units. So we get $1.25. Correct? So that is the answer. Now, part C here is, if some coins in the form, I have some coins in the form of nickels and dimes, how much money do I have with 12 dimes if the ratio of nickels to dimes is 2:3. Now this is a very tricky question. So we are saying nickel is to dime is in the ratio of 2:3. And I have 12 dimes. I have actually 12 dimes. So if I have 12 dimes, I should figure out how many nickels I have. Now this is times 4, right? So I'll multiply this also by 4. They are in the same ratio. So I'll get the value for number of nickels. 4 times 2 is 8. So that is what I have, right? So I have 8 nickels and 12 dimes. Now I can find the value, correct? So the value this time is, we'll calculate with 8 nickels, 0.05 times 8 plus 0.10 times 12, right? So that gives you 8 times 4 is 40, right? So we get 0.4, right? So 0.40, and here we get 1.2, right? 1.20 you can write. So we get the value this time as $1.60, which is $1.60. So that becomes our answer for part C. So 12 dimes will give us $1.20 and 8 nickels will give us 40 cents. So we get now $1.60 as total amount for this money. Perfect. Now there are 3 more questions which are relatively simple. So I kept them here as your test questions. You can now pause the video, answer these questions, write the answers in the comments below, right? And if there is any difficulty, feel free to send an email to me. I'll be readily answering your emails, and also I'll be checking your comments with the answers. I hope that makes sense, right? Question number 3 is, which expressions can be, it is just one of them is true, which expression can be used to represent a less than triple the number, right? So a less than triple the number. Which one is the right answer? Question 4. Which value of x is the solution of the given equation? 2x minus 1 equals to x plus 2. So what is the right solution? Question number 5 is, which equation has the solution a equals to 4? That means if I write a equals to 4 in one of these equations, it will be true. So that is what it is. So which equation has the solution a equals to 4? So I hope with this you understand all the concepts. Feel free to write your comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.